welcome into Fantasy Filmball, the show where we turn movies into sports, and sports is just something that we don't talk about. My name is Dyl, and today is day number 3 of the Virginia Film Festival, and today I have a few options for how I want to go about my day. In a perfect world, I will start off with They Shot the Piano Player, followed by Sleep, and closing my night out with the U.S. premiere of Origin, Ava DuVernay's new drama film presented by Neon. However, there might be some roadblocks. They Shot the Piano Player, I have a ticket for, I'm all good for that. Sleep is something that I have to get into the standby line for. I'll have about 30 minutes in that line to get in. I feel pretty confident about getting into that movie. However, depending on how long the introduction takes and if there's a Q&A afterwards, I may be cutting it pretty close to get to Origin. That is a movie I don't have a ticket for. It is one of the premiere screenings, so I just have to get in the standby line and show my press pass, and then they'll give me a ticket if there are still seats available. For Maestro and American Fiction, I've looked around me. I've seen at least one seat, if not multiple seats available at the time of the movie starts, so I feel confident getting in. You know, Origin's one of these movies I'm super excited to see at this festival. If I had to make a pre-fest rank with my excitement, it would probably be number 2 after Maestro, so I really want to be in there. And Ava DuVernay is a director who I think is just fascinating. Do I love all of her works? No, but I think they always present something new to the table, and they spark so many interesting and philosophical questions, which is something I really appreciate about cinema. So throughout today's video, decisions will need to be made, but at minimum, I will be seeing 2 movies. Hopefully, we will get into all 3. But yesterday, of course, we saw American Fiction, and after sleeping it for a night, I still truly do believe that this will be the best movie I see at the festival. The screenplay is just so phenomenally well done, and the ensemble here all knocks out of the park from top to bottom. Jeffrey Wright, Sterling K. Brown, Tracy Ellis Ross, and even people who are just in one scene. I don't want to spoil any of the actors because when they pop up on the screen, like, oh my gosh, it's them, and then they get to deliver a super comedic line or just very impactful for the story. And American Fiction's one, if it plays at a festival near you, you definitely need to see it, and keep an eye out for it when it hits theaters on Christmas and eventually goes to Amazon Prime sometime after that. And then Rustin, thinking about it for day number 2, I don't really see the path to Best Picture. Like, yeah, if people love Domingo, maybe he gets in, but to me, it seems like it would be a solo Domingo nomination with maybe a chance for song or makeup and hairstyling, but those seem very much out of the question to me. It's just how much do people love this leading performance from Coleman Domingo as Bayard Rustin. I would put him in my lineup. I've now seen 5 of our main 6 leading actor performances. Cillian Murphy would be my number 1. I would, I guess maybe I'll put Domingo at 2, DiCaprio at 3, Wright at 4, and Cooper at 5, with number 6 being Giamatti because I haven't seen it yet. But I did like Matt Damon and Air a lot. And then sadly, because I went to see American Fiction last night, I did not get to see All of Us Strangers, so Adam Scott, he might be in there, but you know, I'm gonna lean on the outside. I just think All of Us Strangers is a movie that will be very well liked. Think of like an After Sun and a lot of those type of movies that top so many critics lists but just can't break into the Academy Awards.
Who you may know from him doing Chico and Rita a little over a decade ago at this point. And this film was nominated for Best Animation Oscar. And today you're gonna see a film that combines sort of the birthplace of bossa nova in Brazil in the 60s and 70s, an incredible musician who's somewhat forgotten by history, Tenorio Jr., here voiced by Jeff Goldblum. I think the film weaves those together beautifully, and I hope that you enjoy. I want to thank Watermark Design for
I just got on They Shot the Piano Player, a documentary and animation hybrid, which sadly I did not really connect to. I thought the way of telling the story was very disjointed. It had an awkward Jeff Goldblum voiceover that very much did not work with the rest of the movie. I thought the animation had its moments to really shine, but I thought it was a story that may have been able to be told better through a typical documentary style with physical interviews, with music footage and clips of our piano player, and I don't know, for an hour 30, hour 40 long documentary, this felt very, very long. And we've seen this style work before. Flea is one of my favorite documentaries I have seen in the last few years, which is another international animated and documentary hybrid that nails the story and it flows effortlessly and you feel very connected and entangled with our subject. But here, I just always felt at an arm's reach, and part of that is due to the mysterious way that he did pass away, but I just feel like there's a lot more that could have gone into telling the story to make it a more creative and interesting watch. More creative and interesting watch. But as we talked about earlier today, I am currently in the standby line, number 6 right here, to get into sleep. If I don't make it in, it's not the end of the world. I got Origin up next, and honestly, seeing this movie and then going to Origin is cutting it kind of close. But I've heard Sleep is a very good horror movie, and I'm a sucker for good horror. We are in.
Directed by Jason Yu. And this program is part of a Korean Films series supported by UVA Korea Society and the Korean Culture Center, Washington, D.C. So are you ready for the horror film? Great. So in fact, this is Jason Yu's.
I am coming out of Sleep, and honestly, I don't want to say too much as I walk to Origin. This movie, it just delivers everything that you want out of a horror movie. Jump scares are at a minimum, but it is so thrilling. It keeps you on the edge of the seat. You're gripping, and you just can't guess where the next turn will go, and it keeps getting more and more insane as you go along. This will probably be the only Korea cinema movie from the fest I will get to see here, but I might as well tell the best one. Don't want to ramble too long. Sleep is amazing. Definitely check out whenever you can. In addition to everything that I said before, I think Sleep just masterfully has a great pace to it. It never loses steam, it only picks up as far as the movie continues to go on. You are glued to the screen when you first see when you're introduced to what the theme and the scare is, and it only gets better and more impactful and more engaging the more the movie goes on. And once you're at the third act, again, I don't want to spoil anything, but the third act is pure insanity in the best way possible. I am second in line. We are
David Duvernay to visit the Virginia Film Festival. Yours too, ever since she directed Selma. And I'm proud to welcome her this evening for the U.S. premiere of Origin. Let me just say that again, the U.S. premiere of Origin. I also want to thank and welcome producer Paul Garnes and to thank Neon for giving us this wonderful film. Origin tells the story of the inspirations behind Pulitzer Prize-winning author Isabel Wilkerson's best-selling book, Caste, Origins of Our Discontents. As you will soon see in the film, the tragic events of August 11th and 12th, 2017, served as an important catalyst for Wilkerson to write her book. That is why Ava made the very intentional decision to choose Charlottesville as the location for this U.S. premiere.
And she is a visionary, so it's an honor to have her here with us and to present her the Virginia Film Festival's 2023 Visionary Award. Ava DuVernay.
No better place in this country to bring this film to debut it. I feel that Charlottesville is an integral part of a larger conversation about this country. It is a place where I feel more of us need to understand, more people in this country need to visit, more people need to interrogate the history and interrogate the future. Because when I'm here, I see people who are active, people who have experienced a lot of pain, a lot of triumph, and who are moving forward. And I've seen that in a number of communities every time I come here. And so it's a place that holds a special part of my heart, and I'm grateful to the festival for allowing me to bring this here and debut this in this country here for the very first time. It's some heavy subject matter. That's what everyone talks about with this film, but I feel it's a love story. And so I invite you to watch this. We've made it with an open heart. I invite you to experience it with an open heart and really see there are multiple love stories that go through this film. So afterward, when I have the Q&A with Anne, I wonder how many can you find? And while our times are fraught with division and tension, I feel that a movie theater is a magic place. Because look around. We're sitting with strangers in the dark and we're together. So thank you so much for watching tonight. Thank you for having me. Thank you for this award. Thank you for your time. Well, it's such an epic story, and as I read it, I was, intrigued and curious about the things that she had shared in the book. And when you come up, maybe some of you all will do this when you watch a TV show or you watch a film and then you go home and you start Googling. I did that when I read her book the first time, the second time, the third time. And so, her book was one thing, my additional research from her book was another thing, and then within the book I really saw her, this woman who wrote the book. And as I learned more about what she experienced around the time that she was writing the book, she became larger than life to me, and really someone who I thought was the right anchor to take us through the story. And all that's best served with cinema. You need a movie for that. And so that was our decision, to try to find a way to take this nonfiction book and make it into a narrative film.
Awesome. Well, first I just want to say I think you are one of the most creative visionaries that we have working today. And even after seeing this, and you mentioned how you did this film without a major studio. So my main question is how does that create more creative liberty and so you can be more of yourself without any studio interference?
Great question.
Yeah, I'll start it off. I mean, the big thing is, one of the, I think, most exciting parts of working on a film is working on a film collaboratively. And a lot of times when we're trying to solve problems of how are we going to do this, what are we going to do, the studio builds these guardrails to protect themselves more than the film. And so you sometimes sacrifice really important parts of what you want to do or how you want to do it because it falls outside of the scope of what they'll allow. And so for us, creatively, it gave us the ability to, film in a real cotton field, go to the real place where that book burning happened, where they've never let anyone film before. Go to the Holocaust Museum in Berlin and film. Go to India and shoot real Dalits doing things that they have to do for a living every day. Those were so important to us, and we were able to make the decision to do it. But I think it also affects things that Ava really finds important, of like who you hire for a role. Many times the studios, if you can imagine and what people think studios do and are, they don't make movies there. There's no one there who actually makes the movies. And so sometimes we have in our head, like Ava will see an exciting actor and say, oh, this is a person, this is that character. And the studio may say, yeah, I don't know, we've never seen them do that before. Maybe if you just hired this person, and you're like, oh, the new, R&B singer. Okay, that's an exciting proposition.
It's true. It would have been a different cast, and it would have been a different film. And we started as independent filmmakers making films that no one cared what we were making. We were just doing it on our own. And we're independent filmmakers, again, at a higher price point, but that independence is something that we missed and we didn't even know we missed it. We've made big studio things. Now we're so addicted and so in love with making films independently again that now our job is to try to figure out how to stay in this free space. You know what I mean? So that's
I am fresh out of the brand new Ava DuVernay film, Origin, coming from Neon, but it wasn't always Neon. It was originally in original production put on by Ava Studio, completely self-funded, and actually, again, keep up the theme of what we've been doing here. I got to ask you a question. One thing I always say about Ava DuVernay is that she is one of our most visionary and one of our most creative filmmakers. Are you gonna love every one of her movies? No, but she's always being bold. She's taking risk, and she's doing stuff that no other filmmaker out there is currently doing. And for that, she must be commended for it. And Origin does a great job of what it's trying to do. Is this the most cohesive film in terms of its narrative, its plot, its structure? No, there are little holes here, and maybe drags at some point, but in the story that it's trying to tell, and the way that it's trying to tell it, being informative, and diving into this topic of the caste system head on, connecting it to here in America with the African American community during slavery, to India currently nowadays, as well as all of time, as well as the Jewish community during World War II. It's tackling this subject with such care and such nuance that this is one of my favorite scripts of the year. I know I just came out of American Fiction last night saying that's one of my favorite scripts, but you know, here we go, script number 2 in a row. And I made a bold claim last night that American Fiction was gonna win our People's Choice Award, and I still think it can. But the noise out of Origin tonight, the eruption of the crowd, not just for the credits, not just for Ava, but for the entire cast, each time a title card popped up. The movie wasn't even over yet, and there was clapping. You could hear sobbing in moments where crying was meant to happen. And diving into some of the technical elements, the cinematography has its moments. I think it's the weakest link of the film, but the ensemble here, Anjanou Ellis-Taylor is great in our leading role. We have seen her in supporting roles throughout her entire career, kind of like American Fiction last night with Jeffrey Wright. Now we finally get to see them in the leading role, and they knock it out of the park. Audra McDonald gets one scene, it's a monologue, and this may be the best scene in the movie. There's some more scenes that are more impactful and really tug at your heartstrings, but this monologue where her character talks about an experience that she had when she was younger really encapsulate what this movie is about and the themes that it's trying to ooze out of. I don't want to go into too much detail about this story because I clearly am not the person to go into the subject. I think once Origin hits theaters, I think it's limited in December, wide in February. It's one that you definitely need to check out. So now, as we always do, it's time to dive into some Academy Award chances. And Origin's a really weird one to gauge. It had a great reception out of Venice. And then at the Toronto International Film Festival, it was kind of more mixed. People adored it, and people really didn't like it. And the crowd tonight seemed to eat it up. It seemed to love it and really grasped everything the movie was trying to do, and it connected to almost everyone in that room. Is the Virginia Film Festival audience the Academy Award voters? Sometimes. I mean, this festival does have a good history of having the Best Picture winner here. Nomadland was here, Green Book was here, La La Land was here for like a few minutes, and that trend has kind of ended these last few years because Coda, Everything Everywhere All at Once came out a little bit too early, but The Power of the Dog did show here. I just don't really know what to gauge for Origin in terms of awards because Neon also has Anatomy of a Fall. That seems to be their main dog right now. A picture, original screenplay, actress, director, and maybe editing. That's 5 nominations, and Origin, I hate to say it, could be a Selma Part 2, where it is a picture player and nothing else. Anjanou Ellis-Taylor is great, but I don't know if she can crack our amazing lineup that we have for Best Leading Actress this year. I don't think any of the supporting players are in the movie enough to break into any of the races, even though I just raved about McDonald, and supporting actress does look a little bit weak. I think the real question here comes down to the screenplay. Is it original or is it adapted? It references the book cast, but it's not an adaptation of the book. It's about the author of the book and her story of creating the book and doing the research. So if it can like finagle its way into original screenplay, I could see the nomination get there. But if it's stuck in the adapted category where we already have stuff like Oppenheimer, like Killers of the Flower Moon, like American Fiction, like Poor Things, like The Zone of Interest, All of Us Strangers, and more, it might be a little bit tough to break into that. However, if this movie connects with the right audience, and that audience is the Academy Award voters, like the Virginia Film Festival attendees, and like the Venice Film Festival attendees, then maybe we could see a miracle. And Origin is our big surprise on Oscar morning, in picture, in a screenplay category. And that's all it needs. I am currently stuck in the parking lot here, so you don't think I am recording while driving. But I forgot to mention, this is the US premiere for Origin. How crazy is that the US premiere for Origin is right here in Virginia? But overall, I thought Origin was a very well-crafted film, and it's one that is gonna linger in my mind for a while. Is Origin gonna be my favorite film of the Virginia Film Festival? Probably not. American Fiction still holds that crown, but I think it's the film that's going to make you think the most. It's the one that's going to spark the most discussions. And to me, I love movies like that, and I love how they create this dynamic for us, whether it's in our Discord, whether it's on Reddit, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, wherever. I just love movies that feel like cinema to be basic, and Origin is exactly that. If you made it this far in the video, as always, consider dropping a like. Comment down below what you think of Origin's Oscar prospects, as well as subscribe to the channel. It helps us grow and keeps you connected to everything that we are doing here. And if you need any more reason to subscribe to the channel, tomorrow I get to see The Holdovers and a slew of great films, and then on Sunday we have a real treat for you because I see The Taste of Things, May December, and American Symphony that will have a live performance from John Baptiste. So if you want to see a little John Baptiste concert, this is the place for it. And that's a close to night 3 of the Virginia Film Festival.